Hi guys, Mrs. Langless here. Today we're going to begin on a new remote art project, once again focusing on 1-point perspective, but this time instead of being a drawing of a real place like a landscape like we did last time, we're going to be doing something that's a little bit more abstract. However, it still is a 1-point perspective drawing. Take a look at this example, which is kind of where we're headed, and see if you can figure out where the vanishing point is. Where do all the lines come together, or where are they all sort of pointing toward? If you said right here, you'd be right. That is the vanishing point, and that's what is really going to be driving our whole drawing today. Before we actually begin to talk about how we're going to do that, I also wanted to let you know that this is your Square One art project for this year. So, a couple of things about that. If you have no idea what Square One art is, basically what it is it's a fundraiser put on by the PTO, the Parent Teacher Organization, and this fundraiser helps to raise money for different things for our school, like field trips especially. And what's really awesome, it's my favorite fundraiser that we do because it involves art. So basically what you do, I'm going to show you a past artwork. Here's an artwork from one of my first grade students that ended up moving away. It's on his form here. I send this away to the company, and then you get this really cool sheet of stickers. So each one of these is actually a sticker. These come back to you for free. You get those. And then you also have the opportunity to purchase different items with your artwork on it. So it's like being a real artist. You know, they have things like, iPad or iPod covers. They have mugs. They have magnets. They have pillowcases. I know we bought those before. That was pretty cool. So anyway, that's Square One in a nutshell. So speaking of that, okay, if you are completely remote, which means you don't come to school at all, okay, all of your instruction is done away from school, there's going to be a link below this where you can actually print out your own form for Square One Art. So it's going to look like this, okay, and you'll print it out, and this is where you do your artwork right here for this project. Now, for those of you that are in 6th grade that are in person a couple of days a week, I'm going to be delivering those forms to your homeroom teachers so that you can actually work on the form itself and then bring it back to school when your artwork is finished to submit it for not only for credit for art class, but also for Square One Art. So if you, for whatever reason, do not have the form when you begin this artwork, I am going to show you right now how to work around that, because the format on the form is actually a square, and it's 8.5 by 8.5. So the cool thing is that regular copy paper, okay, so any paper that you would use in a printer, just blank copy paper, is 8.5 inches wide. So I don't, it's kind of blurry here. Let's see if it focuses. I don't have to do anything with one side of my paper because it's already 8.5. The other side, I'm actually going to cut to be 8.5 inches. So I was thinking that if I put a piece of black paper under here, it might be helpful for you to be able to see. So this length right here is already 8.5 inches. So I'm just going to show you real quick. If I put a ruler down, you'll notice it comes to 8.5 inches, right? So now I just need to make this way 8.5 inches. So I'm going to put my ruler down, okay, and grab a pencil, and I'm going to come all the way to the big line at the 8, and then I'm going to go halfway between the 8 and the 9, and I'm going to make a line. Now, once I've made that line, I'm going to flip my ruler and make sure that it's squared with the top so that it will be a nice straight line, and I'm just going to draw it. Now, I have a line that I can cut. If I can find my scissors, there they are. So now I'm just going to cut along that line, and it's really okay if it's not perfect. Basically what I'm going to do with this artwork then when I get it is I will glue it down to the form and then send the form away to the Square One Art Company. So that is how you make an 8.5 by 8.5 square. Pretty exciting, huh? All right, so now that we've got that all figured out, let's talk about how to make the artwork. So if you look back at this, okay, you will notice that the vanishing point is right in the center. So the first thing I want you to do with a pencil is to just figure out where you think center is in your square. And I think that mine is about right here. So I'm just gonna make, and you know, you don't have to measure. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay? If you want to measure and make sure that it's at the center, you certainly can. But this is my vanishing point, okay? So there I've got my dot. Now, we need to draw some squares and rectangles so that we can get to this point, okay? See the squares and rectangles that are in black and white? All right, so I was looking around and trying to think of what are some things at home that you might have that are squares and rectangles. And I don't know about you, but I have lots of these at home, Legos. So what I did was to make some squares and rectangles out of Legos so that I could use them in my artwork. If you do not have Legos at home to use for tracing, see if you can find something else to make your squares and rectangles out of that you can trace. And the crazy thing in this project is I'm going to do something that we almost never do. I'm actually going to draw with Sharpie instead of starting in pencil. If you would prefer to start in pencil and then trace, please do. I just found it really challenging and kind of time consuming to do both. So if we work really slowly and carefully, I think we can handle just doing it in Sharpie, okay? So the first thing I'm gonna do is just place my first rectangle down. And what we wanna do is we wanna arrange our squares and rectangles sort of around the vanishing point in a way in a circle, okay? So I'm gonna start right here and I'm just going to trace one side. You gotta hold it down because it's gonna wanna move, okay? And then another. Trust me, you'll thank me later because retracing after is really time consuming. It's okay if you make some little errors like I just did, not a big deal. I'm now going to put this one right here. And again, I'm holding it down so it won't move around. And again, if you don't have Legos, you can find other things that are square, maybe a couple of boxes, or you could even draw them as well with a ruler if you couldn't find anything else. So I'm going to put this one right here. And sometimes it's a little bit trickier because you have to kind of get around these edges. There we go. This one didn't quite connect, so I'm going to do that. There it is. Now I've got this little guy. Let's see, where do I want to put him? Maybe, nope. Decided against it. I think I'm going to put this guy right here. It just moved a little bit. Hopefully that won't throw my whole drawing off. We'll see. Looks okay. So far, so good. Maybe, did I ever use this one yet? I guess I used it there. Maybe I can use this long one. Yeah, I like that there. Okay, so I'm gonna do this one right here. So again, yours is going to look different than mine because you are using different rectangles and you're going to be arranging them in a different way as well. What one do I want to use next? Not that one, maybe this one. I think this one would fit good there. Okay, now on my example that I was doing for you before this, I actually added more. I added more on the inside. So I added a couple of little ones in here. And let me show you. So here's mine. If you want to add a couple of little guys on the inside, you may. The overlapping, sometimes is confusing. So I just wanted to show you that as an option. All right. So now I have my rectangles and squares arranged around my vanishing point. Now here's where the magic really starts to happen because, again, one-point perspective drawing is about creating the illusion of space, like some things are closer to you and some things are farther away. So we're going to start using our one-point vanishing point to help show that these buildings, or not buildings, they kind of do look like buildings in the end, but these squares are kind of shooting out at us, okay? They're coming closer, and this vanishing point is further away. So what you're gonna need now is a ruler, or if you don't have a ruler, just like we've done in the past, use a straight edge, like the edge of a book, or the edge of a box or something like that, or even like a really heavy piece of paper. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna take my ruler and I'm gonna place it on the vanishing point. Always find the vanishing point first, and then scoot your ruler so that it's lining up with one of the corners of your squares. Now you won't do the outer corners, you're only gonna do the corners that are closer to the vanishing point. And I'm gonna show you why in just a second. So here it's lined up, make sure you're holding it tight so it doesn't slide when you're tracing, and bam, there's my first line. Now I'm gonna come over here, I'm gonna line it up with the vanishing point and that next corner and another one. Okay, now I'm going to go from this point up to here. So vanishing point up to the far corner. I think I will flip this around to make it a little bit easier for you to see. And I'm going to start here and again, go to the corner. Now, I just want you to take a look at that real quick. Do you see how it almost looks three-dimensional now? Like these are the sides of this rectangle coming down. Sometimes it becomes a little bit more apparent when we get further into the drawing. So now I'm going to go to this edge, okay? So you're only doing the edges that are kind of toward the center here. And I'm going to put it on the vanishing point and then on my corner and draw, okay? Same here, vanishing point, corner. Now remember, if you're using a marker, you can also use different colors, by the way. That could be an option. But you also have to remember that a marker is thicker than a pencil. So you need to leave a little bit of space when you're tracing to allow for the thickness of the tip of the marker. All right, so now I'm going to this corner and the next one. So just a quick note about these corners out here. If I were to draw to that line, it would go right through the center, and you don't want that. These are solid, so you wouldn't be able to see through them and see the other edges. You're only going to see the edges that are toward the vanishing point. I'm going to go to this one next, and to here, and draw a line. Boom. And then vanishing point to this next corner, and boom. Didn't quite get there. Okay, now I am gonna see this one because look, you're gonna see the side of this shape. So check this out. It's gonna go from here to here. This is gonna be a really cool one for the illusion of space here. Keep on going and check it out. That's really cool, right? So it's really an optical illusion, this type of drawing. In art, they call it op art, and op is short for optical illusion. All about tricking the eye, and I am going to see this one too, so I'm just going to go here to here and draw. You can check yourself, like if I can draw to here, from here to here without going through the shape, then I would draw it, but I can't. It would go right through the shape. There doesn't go through the shape, so it's a good one to do. So here to that corner, I'm almost finished, and then I would see this corner, trace, and then there's one more. So right here to here, and then line. Okay, so that is as far as we are going to go in this drawing today. This is going to have multiple steps to the final process. So just working on creating the illusion is our first step on our piece of 8.5 by 8.5 paper, which eventually will get glued down. If you did it separately, you may have drawn it right on your form, okay? So Keep it safe somewhere so that you'll have it for the next video, which will be happening next week. As always, snap a photo, share your artwork with me so that I can give you feedback, and hope you guys enjoy this. And I will talk to you soon. If you have any questions, email me, hlangles@aos94.org. All right, take care, guys.